Hey, Kendall, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to me today about Realvolve versus Contactually. Thank you
Sure.
so much for joining us. So, you and I have spent plenty of time talking about your business. We've talked about your team and other broadcasts. So, I didn't want to spend too much time going into that, even though you have a lot to share there that I think everybody should look up those other broadcasts because there's some really good insights. But today I just want to talk about Contactually. So I understand before you had Realvolve, you were a Contactually user and you were a pretty heavy user of Contactually. Is that right?
I considered myself to be a power user of that program. Yeah.
And what other CRMs had you used before Contactually?
What have I not used? Golly, to name names, I mean, it started back when Top Producer was called Jay Williams back in the 80s.
Hmm.
So it started from there. FileMaker Pro, did my own ones. I've done REST, I've done Wise Agent, I've done Act, I've done Goldmine, I've done High Rise. Golly, oh, there's probably a few I've left out. A
And,
lot.
and one thing that I should mention about you is you're not just somebody that tries it and then bails on it. You go deep with the CRMs. You're somewhat of a CRM expert.
I take it until I break it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take it until I finally figure out what it's not going to do for me. And then I stick with it until I find someone that I hope will do what I want it to do.
So, talk to me about what you really liked about Contactually.
Oh, there's so many things to like.
By the way,
I'm,
I used Contactually too for a while.
yeah, yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about it,
Hmm.
really. I liked it was beautiful. It did the things that a basic CRM does, like just having the information for email address and phone number and kids' names, all stuff. It had all the stuff a basic CRM does, but it's laid out really nicely, so it was easy to do data entry.
Hmm.
It was the first, I think it was the first one that I ever used that sucked in information from other places like my email. And then a little bit of an OCD nut, so I don't really like a lot of information in there that is floating around with no
Yeah.
use. And so I will admit, I liked the bucket game. I would do that during conference calls, and I'd sit there and I'd categorize contacts using a little gamification. I liked that. That was wonderful. Um, I found the buckets themselves to be cute. They made me feel like I was keeping in touch with people. And I know enough about algorithms to know that it wasn't really anything that different at the end of the day, but it looked different even
Hmm.
though it actually wasn't.
Yeah, might as well it's just a tag or a category or,
Pretty much assigning tag and saying, look, if this tag, I want to talk to them every 5 days or 30 days or 6 days or whatever. And when you have a database the size of mine, it was not useful, but
hmm.
it looked like it would be useful, right? Yeah. So anyway, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, and I think so. When I was using Contactually, I was selling software, and I wasn't a real estate agent, but I really liked Contactually for the fact that it would suck in all my email conversations and add a contact. But after about 6 or 8 months, I wasn't keeping up with the bucket game, and there was so many contacts getting created that I had to categorize
Hmm.
because they're now in my database. So I feel like that was something I really, really liked early on, but then 6 or 8 months down the road, I wanted to be able to turn it off, frankly.
I never did turn it off, and I actually ran contactually in parallel with Realvolve
Hmm.
because my idea was I'd have a messy database that sucked in all kinds of stuff, whether I wanted to talk to them ever again or not. And then I had what I referred to Realvolve as my legacy database, and that's where my gold was. That's
Hmm.
where I would be able to create business. But ultimately, running many databases at the same time it's tough. It's a time suck. So I did. It was hard to get let go of contactually. It really was.
Hmm.
I did.
Yeah, definitely. I would say when I had Contactually, I did a lot more one-off follow-ups, which actually work really well. just kind of an off the cuff follow up with people because of how Contactually reminded me to follow up with people. I ended up following up with more people outside of any structure. And I think that was really good, actually. So I liked that part of it.
It was good training, but I will say that I do that with Realvolve now
Yeah.
just easily.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that Contactually maybe was good for training me to do it,
Got
getting
it.
me in habit, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I talk about a lot now is the contact cross section can be that for people, as long as you have your lead statuses or your contact statuses and your stages categorized properly. The contact cross section can do that for you. You'll follow up with everybody. Nobody will fall through the cracks.
Yeah. For me, I think it's less the cross section, although I do like that a lot. For me, it is more about understanding that tags are just the same as buckets. Right? And using the habit that I learned with Contactually and moving it into Realvolve and getting better about pulling up tags worth of people, buckets worth of people, and just cycling through. I have time blocked, time that I follow up with people, doing the one-offs. I use BombBomb in conjunction with my Realvolve, and we could have a whole webinar on how to develop relationships with new people that you just met.
So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but when you're doing, I do want to ask one question. When you are doing your follow-ups, are you using the integration to shoot the BombBomb videos in Realvolve then?
God, I love it so much.
Okay.
Yes. I use integration in Realvolve, and I use a combination of templates with a
one-off video.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually I do. Like, for example, I've been doing a lot of meeting of new people. I have a lovely template that basically asks permission to stay in touch with them in a variety of different ways. And then I just insert video with my little whiteboard so they know it's not a mass-produced video, and that's producing amazing results.
Okay, that's definitely our next webinar when Kendyl has more time then. So what was it about? Because we don't really have that many bad things to say about Contactually. It's a brilliant tool. It's a great great piece of software. Really smart people over there. What was it then?
Good people.
Yeah. So what was it? Because obviously, carrying two systems, you have to have some motivation to be able to do that. What was the real motivation then behind carrying the two systems at first, and then in the long run, bailing on Contactually altogether?
I think the reason that I kept Contactually and running it parallel was the fact that it sucked things in, and I had not reached your place, right? I didn't know I wanted to turn it off. I thought that was a good thing because data entry, it's pain. I mean, it really is. Yeah. And so the idea that I didn't have to do the data entry, that it just got sucked in automatically was wonderful. And it took me a while to realize how much I wasn't using that. It took me a while to let go of the fantasy that a big database was a good database. Yeah. And because but what I've learned in using Realvolve in particular is that it's much better to have a smaller database of people that you have a meaningful connection with.
Yeah.
And that is ultimately why I wound it, because there's so many tools that Realvolve has that Contactually doesn't. I think of Contactually as a really good starter database. Man, it's really good for that. And it is a bummer to lose that for our industry. And maybe the people who use Contactually are thinking that I'm misspeaking by saying that we've lost that as an industry, but I believe that we have. We've just lost.
At this point, they don't. At this point, their stance is that they don't know what they're going to do with it yet, technically. So
we'll set that aside for a second. But my particular opinion and the wherewithals and why I think that are not important here. But I believe that Contactually is lost to us.
Well, most people aren't going to want to put their data in a competitor's tool. So yeah, most of us aren't going to want to do that.
Decide as to whether or not that's true or not, or what best practice is. I believe it's lost to the industry, and that's a bummer because it was a great starter database. Yeah. And the things that it does, frankly, might be fine for maybe even the vast majority of the real estate agents out there. I'm not a vast majority real estate agent. So,
right. So was it really real estate specific functionality that you felt like you were gaining? Was it the automation around transactions and listings? What was the
Yeah,
real?
I would say that the industry specific focus was a really good reason to transition to Realvolve. Now, I don't know that it's a compelling reason. It's what brought me in.
Mhm.
The compelling reason is really it's the automations.
Right.
It's the power of the workflows and the templates. It is the fact that we have so many fields that are specific to us that I can use in so many different ways, that I truly have achieved a put in the data bit once and never do that data entry bit again. I'm going to use it like the number of ways that I use a piece of data from just a date. It could be an appointment date. It could be a milestone date. It could be a legacy date, like an anniversary.
Mhm.
But put that piece of information once, and I can use it sometimes for years. And that is industry specific because, like, for example, I can use home sale anniversary or home purchase anniversary. Maybe some people would have an anniversary date. It's been a while since I've looked into Contactually, but I think they have, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 anniversary dates, and you
Mhm.
can name one for what you want. I have, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 dates that I can use.
Right. Well, and
I'm
and
sorry, 20, 30, 40 dates, that trumps 4.
yeah. So what? How big of a deal is it? Like, so one of the things that I love about Realvolve is how you can attach people together via relationship status. So you can say this person's married to that person, and then you can have a property and attach the property, which is a separate object altogether, to those people. I feel like that's a big deal, but I'm not a residential real estate agent. Are
Yeah.
those kinds of details what goes into the consideration then?
So this goes back to my old days when I was doing FileMaker, this relational database where you can connect bits of
Hmm.
data together. Yeah. Um, my goal has always been to be the 4 seasons of real estate. I want them to contact me, and I have such deep data about not only who they are, but what their experience has been, that I can finally craft my communications as well as my experience to what they are. Yeah. So if somebody refers me their mother-in-law's house, the next time I talk to them, I want to be able to not only pull up the fact that they referred me their mother-in-law's house. Any database can do that. I want to be able to say, well, yeah, actually, you used Glen Oaks escrow in your mother-in-law's transaction. She was really happy, but did she say anything to you? Do you want to use that for yours? Or when we did your mother-in-law's house, she wanted to have pre-inspections, and we used the following people.
Hmm.
And she really liked 3 of them, but she was really unhappy with the 4th. What would you like to do? And to have this kind of deep, deep data about their history and their preferences, to me, it's kind of like going to a 4 seasons in New York, and the only other 4 seasons I've ever been in was in Maui. But in New York, they say, do you still want Pellegrino in your room?
Mm.
Or even just having it there? Because that's my preferred bubbly water. Right?
So yeah. So what would you say if somebody's considering moving from Contactually? Are there any pitfalls, or is there any advice that you would have for them?
Um, I would say don't get tripped up on the power that we have.
Mm.
I would say move over for Contactually with the idea that we're going to be able to help you grow into using your database in more valuable ways, in ways that will help you make more business and create more referrals. But don't worry about that. Right now, you should move over to Contactually and use Realvolve the same way that you use Contactually. And our sales team can help you figure out how to do that.
Mm.
So whatever level you're using Contactually, you can do that at Realvolve. And if you do nothing other than that, we are really great. But most real estate agents have plans and desires to grow their business past where they are now. And the great thing about Realvolve is that you're never going to have to move your database again, Because whatever you're planning to do, from just hiring your first assistant because you're a solopreneur right now, to growing a team, or maybe even becoming like me, wind up having a brokerage when you never thought you would have one. I will never have to move my database because Realvolve has all the tools that I need as my business grows and morphs way beyond I ever thought it would be. So start small, but know that we're there for you for everything you're going to become.
I love it.
Yeah. Someday when you grow up, like me. No, I'm not grown up yet. Yeah.
Well, that was 15 minutes, and it was a 15 minutes that you didn't have to spare today. So I really appreciate your time today, Kendyl, and I'm looking forward to the next time we get to catch up and go deeper into follow-ups and video and all kinds of fun stuff. Again, if you're listening to this, please go look up some of our other webinars with Kendyl. She has lots of really great advice to share with people about CRMs, about process, about team, about culture. So please go look those up on our YouTube channel, etc. Thank you so much again, Kendyl, and I look forward to talking with you very soon.
You bet. And if you got anybody for Glendale, I got a jam to a house that I've got open. So come on up. It's going to be fun.
Thanks, Kendyl. Bye for now.
Bye.